Namaskaram, Bhagavad Gita, Chapter 6, Sloka 22. In this sloka, Bhagavan says, having gained that state, one does not consider any attainment to be greater. Being thus established, one is not shaken even in the midst of the greatest calamity. In this sloka, Bhagavan says, Yogi attains the state in which he realizes God. That is the greatest, that is the happiest stage for him. And he doesn't want to go away from that, and he doesn't feel anything happier than this, or anything gives more pleasure, or anything is greater than that. In material world, the one who escalates from lower economic group to then middle income, then higher income, and he grows economically, and he moves from a small house then to two-bedroom flat, then it goes up like that, and he starts living in the bungalow. What happens? He wants to go up, and he never feels happy at any stage, and he doesn't feel satisfied at all, because at every stage he wants to earn more, he wants to get more material. So there is no happiness at any state and any stage of his life, that is any state of his mind. So he is always in search of material without getting any satisfaction and happiness. So his mind is after materials. So he doesn't enjoy the happiness. So the happiness is nothing for him. Whereas one who is in meditation, one who is in the spiritual path, one who is in divine path, and one who follows what is given in Bhagavad Gita, the preachings of Bhagavan, he keeps Bhagavan in his mind. He gets detached from material world, and he keeps Bhagavan in his mind, and he always think of him. He chant mantras on him. He reads the pastimes of Bhagavan. So his activities are related to God, and he keeps thoughts of God in his mind. At that state of mind, what happens? He gets the happiness, and he feels that is the highest happiness. So he doesn't want anything more than that. So he feels happy here. Whereas in material world, at any stage of his life, he doesn't feel happiness. Whereas here, he feels happy when he is in the Atma Jnanam, when he is in realizing Atma and Paramatma. So when the Atma is in union with God, so he feels that happiness there. So that happiness cannot be snatched away. Whereas when we go after material and get the happiness, if we feel that we get happiness from that, from these objects, what happens if you lose your material, or if you lose any of the objects, your happiness is lost. Because you feel, I'm upset because I didn't get this, I lost this. And you think of the things which are lost. So you are not living in the present. You are mourning for something you lost. So what happens? You are not enjoying anything at the present in which you are living. Whereas in a spiritual path, you keep God in your mind, and you are in meditation, and you are doing meditation on God, and your thought is about only Atma, then Atma and Paramatma. Atma is in union with Paramatma, so that brings the eternal happiness. And God realized soul. though living in the material body, but remains, that is, inward, you are in divine consciousness. So externally, the yogi, though he faces illness or any uncomfortable environment or the troublesome people or people who hate him, but he is not affected by those things because he is living with God. He is realizing the Atma and Paramatma. So that gives him the Anandam, joy. God, the Atma, is Anandamaya. Paramatma is Chat Chit Ananda. Paramatma is very happy always. So he is spreading that happy within us. So the one who is in meditation, who is in the divine path, remains happier within himself. So nothing bothers him, nothing perturbs him. So though his body is aching, though his body is suffering from diseases, he does not feel the pain because internally he is happy because of the presence of God. And he realizes that presence of God. So saints, the jnanis, cannot be shaken by anything. And they rise above the bodily consciousness, not affected by bodily harm. For example, Valmiki. Valmiki, when he was Ratnakar, Narada asked him to meditate on Rama Rama. Initially, he could not pronounce Rama Rama. So Valmiki was asked by Narada to identify a tree. He said, yes, this is Mara Mara. So Narada asked him to chant on Mara, 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 Mara. So when he keeps on saying that, it turns to be Rama, 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 Rama. Then he went deeply into meditation. He didn't even know how long he was on meditation. And there was a handhill formed on him. And Brahma realized, Brahma came that way and he wanted to see Ratnakar. And what did he do? He sprinkled the water from his Kamandala on the handhill and called him as Valmiki. So this is how Valmiki, Ratnakar turned to be Valmiki. So this is what the impact of deep meditation. So Valmiki was blessed. He was fully involved with God. His thoughts, everything, his life was on God. He surrendered to God and everything was on God only. So all his activities connected to God only. So Valmiki presented us Ramayana. So this is the impact of deep meditation. The meditation has to be practiced. It is not just doing few days or few weeks. The meditation has to be practiced every day, and over the period of time you get into this deep meditation. At that stage you realize that your Atma in union with Paramatma. So you get the knowledge of Atma. You realize Atma. You become God realized soul. So and when you are on that stage, all your sorrows are shielded. You don't feel anything that is external thing as sorrow at all, because you are very happy within yourselves. So you don't feel the sorrow which is happening or which you are receiving from outside. So this is the significance of Atma Jnanam, Atma realization. So Valmiki proved it. He lived by that. Then Lakshmana, when he decided to do Kainkaryam, service to Rama, Bhagavad Kainkaryam, when Rama was asked to go to Vanavasa, Lakshmana was very strong in not staying back at Ayodhya. He was very sure that he wanted to go with Rama and do service to him. So that was his top priority. So this is what happens when we decide to do yoga, that is meditation. our priority is realizing Atma and Paramatma. When you fix that as a target, as a goal, you will achieve it. So Lakshmana decided its priority was only living with Rama during Vanavasa and do Kaingarya to him. He did it. His mother, Lakshmana's mother, also supported him. He said, yes, Lakshmana, you are born to stay in forest and you do service to Rama. I will be very happy. You stay with him, take care of him. You will be everything to him. You will be mother, you will be father, you will be everything to him. So do service to him. So this is how the mother also decided, Lakshmana also decided. So Lakshmana's top priority. That is the top priority. That is the state of mind Lakshmana had. So when you want to be with Bhagavan, that is Bhagavan Anubhavam. Bhagavanubhavam is you are in the presence of God. You want to be in the presence of God. Only that brings you happiness. So Lakshmana wanted to be in the presence of Lord God. So Bhagavan Rama. So he did it. He decided because that was his top priority. So the mind, we should decide on doing meditation and do it and practice it, and that will become, you will attain the state of perfection. Markandeya did achieve this by doing penance on Naranarayana. Markandeya did severe austerity, penance on Naranarayana. Indra always scared of rishis doing tapas because they were very successful and powerful. So he was scared that if rishis asked anything in favor of them, and that would turn to be against Indra. So he wanted to distract Markandeya. So he sent all the Apsaras and Manmatha to distract Markandeya, but nothing happened. Apsaras came, danced, sang, and the entire environment got changed, and Manmatha came and he did his actions, but nothing disturbed Markandeya. He continued his penance, and Manmatha felt that no, I think I'm harming a snake. So how the snake will be? So like this, I'm harming. He is a devotee of Vishnu. So how the wounded snake will react? So this he will also react and curse me. So he ran away from that place and informed Indra, no, I'm not going to do anything more. Then Indra also had the same fear. Then Naranarayana appeared in front of Markandeya and asked him, what do you want? He was very much impressed by the way Markandeya did penance. Then Markandeya said, what else I asked? There were so many rishis did penance for thousands of years and they could not have darshan of you. But I am so fortunate, you blessed me with your presence. So what else I need? This is the maximum. This is the greatest time in my life. I don't need anything other than having darshan of you. So I said, I'm so happy, I'm so blessed. And he thanked God. And his wish was only, not towards material. He wanted to have a darshan of Vaishnavi Maya. So Naranara said yes. Because he went to, he gave instruction to Markandeya, just watch at Badri, the Divyadesam. And he had his wish was also fulfilled by the grace of God. So this is the impact of the deep meditation. So Markandeya could achieve, Markandeya had the darshan of Naranarayana because of his severe austerities. So he said, I don't want anything more than that. He never asked for any material related things. He asked only the darshan of Bhagavan. And Kulashekara Alvar, who was a king, later he renounced everything and he started visiting the Divya Desams and presented or did Mangala Sasanams on the Divya Desams. And he wanted to be a step in the Tirumala. He wanted to be a bird in the Tirumala. He wanted to be a fish in the Tirumala. So his mind was around only God. And his thoughts were around only God. So he sang songs and he did many service to the temples. And he stayed in Tiruvarangam and he kept on visiting the temple. So he surrendered everything to Bhagwan. So yeah, that was his happiness. So visiting temple and singing pasurams on him and having darshan of him was his maximum happiness. That is, he thought, I knew only that. He sacrificed everything. Then he led a life like a sage, and he didn't bother about it. He never felt that he was missing his luxurious life, because his priority was worshipping God and visiting his temples. So there are some pasurams by Nammalvar. இல்லதும் உள்ளதும் அல்லது அவனொரு எல்லையில் அன்னலம் புல்கு பற்றற்றே அற்றது பற்றெனில் உற்றது வீடு உயிர் செற்றது மண்ணுரில் அற்றிரை பற்றே. These pasurams are from Tiruvazhmozhi. There are 10 pasurams, 11 pasurams are on how to attain moksha. Nammalvar is saying how to attain moksha, how to surrender to God. Surrendering to God, Bhagavan is the only way to attain moksha. So all his 11 pasurams are relating to that. So the meaning of the pasuram is the things that are in the world or the things that are not in the world are his forms. Everything, whatever is here or not, everything is in his forms. So he is asking the people, give up all your desires. Grasp his wonderful, matchless form and worship him and surrender to his lotus feet. So what we see in the material world is nothing. So don't fix your mind on that. You fix your mind on the wonderful, matchless form of God and surrender to him. He will help you to go to or reach moksha. So if you give up your desire for worldly things, you will reach moksha. The only help that you should have in this world is the desire to join him. Only, it's a very small thing. Desire to join him. So to desire to join him, we need to give up desires towards material world. Only then we can concentrate on God. So the pasurams help us to move up the ladder, because Alvars lived by the preachings of Bhagavan Krishna. What he said in the Bhagavad Gita were followed by Alvars, and they delivered their experiences with devotion, and they delivered the glories of Bhagavan in the form of pasurams. So we have got the treasure of pasurams, scriptures, Bhagavad Gita. So let's read all that, let's get inspired by Alvars and go further and further in the spiritual path, and how to, these taught us how to face life. In today's scenario, we are all affected by the virus, and we always have a fear of getting affected by the virus, and we take precautions, and we are panicked. Some people are panicked, some people take it boldly. There are also different types. But everyone has a fear that if I am affected by this, so that is there in everyone's mind. Instead of getting afraid or instead of becoming panic, you have only the thought of God, surrender to God. He takes care of us, so that you live in peace. If you think of this is always in your mind, there is no peace. So here in this pasuram, in this sloka, what we learn is, you should have the greatest goal in the life, the greatest goal which gives us the eternal happiness is only the thoughts of God in our mind and meditate on God. So that gives us peace and happiness. So let's try to attain that. Only that takes us, or that helps us to lead our life peacefully.